Hi, this is Brent with Sample Tools by CR2. In this video, we're going to be exploring how to create a techno pad or an atmosphere depending on how you filter the preset. I'm going to be using Ableton's Wavetable synth as opposed to using something like Serum, just because most people might have this already in their Ableton DAW, whereas not everyone's going to have Serum, and it's a bit of a change from using stuff like Serum and Pigments. So the basis of this pad is all around the wavetable of an FM wavetable, and again, using some filtering, we can quickly change this into an atmosphere. So let's just have a listen to what it sounds like. So the actual rising pitch of this pad almost gives it like a shepherd tone type nature, where it's constantly ascending, building motion, and also building excitement. So while you could use this for an atmosphere or a pad, you could also automate the parameter like I have here and use this to create an effective build-up, as an atmosphere is a really big part of a build-up. So let's break down the preset. I've got the wavetable, and everything else is just Ableton's native effects, apart from Kickstart from Nicky Romero and Cable Guys. But again, you could achieve that with just literally a compressor and a sidechain. But apart from that, everything is completely native. So let's work backwards and turn all these off, and I'll show you how we've achieved the effect from the very start. As you can see, the wavetable hasn't actually got a great deal going on. What I've done is I've used just a single oscillator, and I went into the basics folder and I've came down into the FM folders. Now I sort of went between these, and again, it's just a personal choice. Just use whatever feels that it sounds the best for your production. I've used the FM fold because I wanted it to fold inward as the pitch went up with that rise, as you heard before. And then apart from that, I've done literally nothing to the oscillator apart from tune it, and again fold the amount control, so you can control how much the wavetable is folded here. So this is basically a form of FM synthesis within itself. So we've basically tuned the oscillator and applied some folding, and then I've just changed the starting position here. That's all this slide is doing. So that sounds quite primitive, as we'll hear. Now the movement there is coming from LFO1, and LFO1 is again just using the default sine wave. I've turned off the quarter note, just leaving it to a hertz control, because I wanted it to be a really slow rate control to build the ascension through the wavefold. And I've applied this with about a 40% on LFO1 for oscillator 1's position. So again, pretty basic stuff. Then I've applied a filter, and one of my favorite things for Ableton is the MS2 filter because of the drive stage. You can apply as little or as much as that as you want here, and that sounds like this. So really, the wavetable isn't doing much of the weight here at all. It's actually the effects processing, it's actually the effects processing and the signal chain that follows. So from here we go into a frequency shifter, and this is giving us that sort of formant sound that we're hearing. Here I've selected an 8 pulse for the rate, so it goes over the space of 8 bars, which again is quite long. So this is just to show the waveform as it builds, so that you might want this a little bit faster. And then the amount control I've changed to an ascending control for the LFO sample and hold, just to make it a bit more gradual. And then all I've done is increase the fine tune. That's the frequency shifter. Next up is an echo. All I did was slap this on, change it to ping pong, and that's literally the entire echo. But the spatial effects are what really make this. Then the EQ is a big part of how you can change the sound from either an Atmos or a pad or even a build. You could automate the parameters here to sort of high pass and give you that atmospheric build. Next, we're introducing some modulation with the Phaser Flanger plugin. Again, we can select whichever mode we want here. Let's go between these three. I'm going to stick with the phaser. It's quite subtle, but just plays around with the stereo field a little bit more. Then the erosion is a nice one that came included with Ableton Live 11, I believe. And this just, again, sort of degrades the waveform a bit. If you don't have access to this, you could use something as simple as a bit crusher. So that's effectively all it's doing. It's subtle. It's just mainly in the top end there, sort of like 8K, 5K. And then we send that into a hybrid reverb, which is a blend of a convolution impulse response and also a algorithmic reverb. And then finally, we've got kickstart for the motion. You can imagine a kick sitting underneath this. And the utility is just a little bit of Haas effect. I'm sort of boosting the sides because this would typically be a sort of like an atmospheric layer. So let's have a listen to what we have. And you can attenuate the EQ region as you desire for whatever part this is playing in your actual mix. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video.